Hey everybody, Don Georgevich here with Job Interview Tools. Today I want to talk to you about sending out your resume to unposted jobs. So if you want to learn how to do that, go ahead and hit the like button on this video and we'll dive right in. Now for starters, I want you to stop sending out what I call blind resumes. Blind resumes are ones where you just send to a company with your resume attached and that's it. There's no introduction, there's no subject line, there's no nothing. You just send out a resume. Believe it or not, people do this, and I get them every day. And when I reply back to these people and ask them, what did you want me to do with your resume? They reply back and they say, job, or I need a job. I can tell you that that strategy is the surest way to get your resume in the trash can. So don't do that. And employers, especially employers, if you just send them a resume with no information, they're just going to delete it. So save yourself the energy and put some effort into every resume that you send out. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. So for starters, what you need is what I call a prospecting email template. And you probably already have one right now, and it's probably very similar to the letter that you use when you apply to posted jobs. But if you're applying to an unposted job, you need a slightly different letter. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. So for starters, you want to send out your resume to a real person. So you don't want to apply to an unposted job by just sending it out to like hr@abc.com. You want to find the name of an individual. Otherwise, your resume is just going to go in the trash. So to do that, use LinkedIn, use the company directory, even call the company up on the phone and ask them, who works in this department, who is a hiring manager, who is the director of human resources. Get a real name. Otherwise, your resume is just going to land in the trash. Plus, when you have a real name, that gives you the opportunity to strike up a real conversation with a real person. And that's what you want to do. That's how you get your resume read. And I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that say, oh, I can't find anybody's name. Everything's hidden. It's too hard. They don't post the names. They do. I can find the name of practically anybody in any company, anywhere on the planet. I can get their name, I can get their email address, I can even get their phone number. It just takes a little bit of effort, which means you have to work, which means you have to dig. If there's a place that you want to work at, you are going to have to put some effort into it. So what does a good prospecting letter sound like? Well, a good prospecting letter tells a story. Remember, you're not applying to a job that is posted. You're applying to an unposted job, so you need a slightly different format. So let's just say, for example, that you are a banker and you work at Chase Bank, and let's say that you're going to be moving to another city, let's say San Jose, and you want to prospect different banks in that area. What you might want to do is craft a prospecting letter that starts off with something like, hello, Mr. Jones, my name is Don Georgevich, and my 10 years in banking experience should be of interest to you. For the past 10 years, I've been working at Chase Bank in the consumer lending department, and I'm one of the top consumer lenders that we have. I am relocating to San Jose, California, and I noticed that Citibank had an office there. And I would be interested in learning more about your office there and if you have any need for someone who specializes in consumer lending. Would you be interested in taking a look at my resume? Please let me know, and I'll be happy to get one out to you at my earliest convenience. Period. Sincerely, Don Georgevich. Now, when you have a letter like that, think about it. In that letter, there's nowhere I said, here's my resume, take a look at it. I just told them what I'm good at doing and that my expertise might be of interest to them. And then I asked them, if it is, maybe you would like to see a copy of my resume. So I basically pushed it on them to make them ask me for my resume. Now, I know that sounds crazy. Nobody does that. Everybody just likes to send their resume out to everybody and everywhere. But take a different approach. Take a step back. Guard your resume. Hold it a little bit closer to you. Don't be so willing to give it out to anybody and everybody, because believe it or not, most people on the planet, they don't care about your resume. No offense, they just don't care. So hold it a little bit tighter to you. Ask people if they want to see it, but tell them the story first. If you notice the story that I told them that I'm an expert in consumer lending and I have 10 years experience at Chase Bank. I'm moving to San Jose where Citibank has an office. Would you be interested in looking at my expertise and see how I can work with your customers in your area in consumer loans? Would you be interested in seeing my resume? So I put the question out there to them. Now, they're either going to come back and they're going to say, no, we're not interested, or they're just going to ignore your email entirely, or they might reply back and say, yes, we are interested in your experience. We're interested in you. Go ahead and send us a resume so we can take a look. See, you've just struck up a conversation. That's how prospecting emails work. You want to ask them a question and see if they want to engage you. That's the key, is engagement. But most people today, they just like to keep throwing resumes out and just beat people over the head with the resumes. And you know what? That strategy doesn't work. I've known people who've sent out hundreds and thousands of resumes only to get 0 replies. So if something doesn't work, try something different. So this technique might sound a little counterintuitive, but you're actually asking employers if they want to see your resume. You're also not putting yourself out there. Every time you send your resume out and you don't hear anything back, that's rejection. And that rejection eats away at your self-esteem. And you just start feeling smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And you get to the point where you don't even want to send your resume out anymore because, nobody wants to see it, or at least that's how you feel, because nobody replies back. So try a different strategy. Get that prospecting email crafted so that it tells a story about you, and then just send it out to very select people. Use LinkedIn, use company directories, but find real people to send it to and strike up a conversation. And the example that I gave you, that's just the bare minimum. You can do so much more with that. You can ask them, if they'd like you to reach out to them with a phone call or whatever. And, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to say, oh, those methods, those are old school, that's dead, that doesn't work anymore. Well, you know what? Sending out 500 resumes, with the click of a button doesn't work either. So when things don't work, go back to the basics. And this, my friend, is going back to the basics. All right? Now, if you need help writing a resume that, really gets you noticed, I would strongly suggest that you take a look at the Resume Masterpiece. This book here follows the exact steps that I use when I write resumes for clients. And I've written some really amazing high-level, low-level, and everything in between. This guide is going to teach you how to write the best possible resume that's going to get you noticed. But just because you have a great resume, don't send it out to everybody. Only send it out to people who want to see it. All right, my friend, that's all I have for you today. Good luck on your next interview. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.